We are thrilled that she has accepted our invitation and is willing to share her story. Thank you, Nitzia, and God bless
you. Your Eminence, ladies and gentlemen, I am very honored to have received this award from you. Never would I have imagined that I would be standing here in front of you today, a few years ago, when we first set up Seleni. But here I am, and I am grateful to you all. The day a child is born is one of the happiest, most celebratory, most looked forward to, most life-changing, and most positive moments in the lives of a family. At least, that is what it is supposed to be. But for many, indeed more than you might expect, it is a day of sadness, fear, a sense of failure, and sometimes tragedy. But more about that later. I'd like to tell you first about how my husband and I gave birth to this organisation. But before I do so, let me tell you a little bit about how we came up with the name Seleni. As you may remember, coming up with the name is often a challenge to expectant parents, and we were no exception. Seleni brings together bravery and emotions, for it takes courage to face your emotions. Selene, the ancient Greek goddess of the moon, has become a metaphor for emotions. Eleni is a story you all know well of a courageous mother who went above and beyond to protect her children during the Greek Civil War at the ultimate sacrifice of her life. So put the two together and you have the name Seleni. Well, that's the name, but what is the purpose? Conceiving, delivering, and raising a child seems so ordinary and so obvious. It has been done billions of times before and will continue to be done, even as we speak. But surprisingly, for some, it does not come so easily. Let me ask you, how many women in the US do you think suffer from infertility? 7.1 million. How many reported cases of postpartum depression are there? 1 million out of 4 million births per year. And we can only guess how many unreported cases there are. What do you think the second leading cause of death in women who have just given birth is? Complications? No. Infection? Guess again. Suicide? Yes. Suicide. How often might you guess that miscarriages occur? 1 in every 50? 1 in every 25? It's actually 1 in every 4 pregnancies. And how prevalent might you think stillbirth is in a day of modern medicine? 1 in every 160 births ends in stillbirth. It's tragic. I was shocked by these numbers for 2 reasons. Number 1, these problems occur so frequently. And 2, we have so little awareness of them. More people than we know are suffering. Much of this suffering is shrouded in silence and stigmatized. What we wanted to do, aside from the alleviation of suffering by many, was to destigmatize these issues and lift the veil of silence, because the need is immediate and urgent. Now, the consequences of mothers suffering from poor mental health are far-reaching for many of these women, as well as their children. A shocking 20% of mothers with postpartum depression think of harming themselves at some point. The children of these mothers with mental health issues are 12 times more likely to suffer from a learning disability. They're more prone to violence, and that they are more likely to suffer from depression or anxiety themselves at the age of 16. So what are we currently doing about all of this? Well, consider, last year, the total number of deaths by breast cancer was 39,000, and this is only in the US. That, of course, is tragic. In the same year, however, there were 38,000 deaths by suicide. Those tragic numbers are almost equal. Yet, The total research budget for cancer is $5 billion, and that's billions with a B. And the research budget for mental health is only 40 million, and that's million with an M. Almost exactly the same mortality numbers, yet mental health is underfunded by a ratio of 125 to 1. These sad statistics would be enough to get anyone involved in this issue, but I had an additional motivation. Having spent many years volunteering in Latin America and working as a psychotherapist, I began to perceive a distinct correlation that the children whose mothers were doing well themselves, and that those whose mothers were doing poorly were also doing poorly. My patients, whose mothers had been healthier when they were children, were healthier today. The simple truth is that many mothers are still the heartbeat of the family. Thus, our focus on the well-being of the mother is the only true way to focus on the well-being of the child. For even if we specifically and exclusively treat the child goes back to their family dynamic. So there can only be permanent change in the child's well-being if the parents are treated, and especially the mother. So what are we doing about it? At Seleni, we address 3 different dimensions of the problem. We operate a clinic that serves up to 300 women and their families per week. It is a one-of-its-kind centre that treats a full spectrum of women with a variety of services, including psychiatry, psychotherapy, parental support, sleep support, lactation support, and even alternative therapies such as acupuncture. Now, you may be wondering why we would offer sleep support. There is so much more than meets the eye. When a mother is suffering from depression and her baby is not sleeping through the night, we can only go so far with psychotherapy. If we truly want to help her with her depression, we need to get her to a point where she is sleeping more at night. Our expert sleep consultants help our mums stretch their baby's sleep out so that they can sleep longer too. When mums are rested, they are happier, and surprise, surprise, their babies are too. And the same goes for lactation support. Many new mums struggle to breastfeed their babies. Now, new mums tend to be a little more anxious than their more seasoned mums, and there's a risk of mums feeling helpless and hopeless if they can't feed their babies, which is so basic. What better way to improve mums' mood than by helping them feed their babies? And there certainly will be no anxiety in not being able to afford our help, as we offer up to 90% financial assistance to those in need. Our second dimension of care is offering an extensive online presence that provides evidence-based, reasoned and practical wisdom on a variety of subjects. In short, we supplant old wives' tales with modern science and empathy. Our last dimension is to provide grants to researchers who are working in the field of women's mental health. We are currently evaluating 18 proposals from highly prestigious universities, both internationally and nationally. Finally, I want to share with you a story that happened to me recently, which moved me and reminded me why what we do is so important. I have a friend who's from Guatemala, and she in turn has 2 friends, both of whom had recently suffered a miscarriage and a stillbirth. Needless to say, they felt hopeless and depressed, and fearful that these events would repeat themselves. My friend sent them the link to the Seleni website. They studied it and called her back, so grateful that there was information and guidance online. Furthermore, they no longer felt alone, knowing that a centre like Seleni existed, and that their suffering was shared through reading about the experiences of others. I know we are doing our job when I hear stories like this one, because that is what Seleni is all about, support. And I'd like to add that none of this would be possible without my biggest supporter, my husband. Sorry. I'm fortunate to have someone by my side who not only is a great personal support, but who is also deeply committed Must be so inspired to speak, actually. But it is also deeply committed to helping our team manifest the vision of Seleni. And that vision is to care for women. We offer them a shoulder for those weighed down by the shame of not being able to bear a child. A comfort for those who have endured tragedy through the loss of a child, stillbirth or miscarriage. A support to those who return to work after a stillbirth without one person acknowledging or recognising her very obvious loss. A resource for those struggling with anxiety and depression while they care for their baby. We offer a community to those who suffer in silence. And in that community comes empathy and healing and a way forward. I am very proud that at Seleni we are addressing these difficult issues and that there is a physical place where people can come and get the attention and compassionate care they deserve. We all deserve to see the way forward. And by illuminating the unspoken, we shed taboos, increase awareness, and lift the burdens that society places on women and families. And here's the secret. If you leave this talk feeling more hopeful and uplifted, you too have just experienced the essence of Seleni. Your Eminence, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for listening. As so many mothers learn every day at Seleni, hope and help can only begin when people listen. Thank you so much.